So this article's just come up and I think it's important. I mean, I get the feeling it's going to be breaking news, and fuck off OBS, you're not getting updated until I finish these articles. So this is happening right now. There's being protests held in Germany, in Berlin. Merkel must go. Germans turn against Chancellor as thousands protest at open door policy. Thousands of people have taken to the streets of Berlin to protest against Angela Merkel's open-door refugee policy. So they have the video here where they have a number of these people outside here protesting with German flags, the German Imperial Eagle, and I'm not entirely sure what flag that is. It may be the state flag of Bavaria or Germany. But, yeah, pretty orderly protest, but Germans seem to do everything orderly, except for their fucking immigration policy. So police are patrolling the protest as crowds gather in Washington Square for an anti-immigration rally following a spate of terrorist attacks in the country. I didn't know Berlin had a Washington Square, though probably after World War II makes sense. So, holding banners saying Merkel must go and the Queen of Smugglers, Merkel must leave, crowds waving flags have flocked to the public square, and the hashtag Merkel muss weg is being used by protesters online, which I'm going to assume means Merkel must go. Counter-demonstrations are also being held by anti-fascist groups, with police expecting up to 5,000 people to gather in the German capital. I do have to wonder if violence is going to break out between the two groups, and if it does, it will more than certainly be blamed on the people protesting immigration. Considering that very quickly it seems like people are they're establishing the narrative that these are the fascist people, considering anti-fascists are protesting them. So protesters reading "Berlin, better without Nazis" have been seen as others walk around with t-shirts saying "The German Reich lives in us." So yeah, the constant shaming of Germans for being German, and saying that anyone who disagrees with these policies that we have literally seen in the past week are getting Germans killed must be monsters, because they don't want to watch their own country spill its blood. So, what the fuck? It's 5:30 and I'm yawning. So, right-wing speakers will address the crowds, demanding Merkel introduce a cap on the number of migrants and tough new security checks. Right-wing speakers. That does not seem like a right-wing issue. That seems like a centrist thing to me. Just obviously, I could understand right-wing if they're saying no more migrants, no more foreigners, everyone fuck out, we're going for Grexit or Jexit. But just that seems like a fairly reasonable demand. So Chancellor Angela Merkel has increasingly come under fire for her refugee policy, which has seen more than 1 million migrants enter Germany in the past year, many fleeing war in Afghanistan, Syria and Iraq. But this is the problem, is that we have conclusive evidence that large portions of the refugees are not fleeing from persecution and war. Okay, they're coming from countries like Somalia, where things are not great, but they are not classed as these war zones. This has nothing to do with ISIS over there. These are people that are coming over here because it's the opportunity to go on a nice adventure for some free money. Chance to go out and explore and do what you know most men in their teens and 20s would like to do. So, and also, of course, there's the ISIS members that are being smuggled in with them. But yeah, so 5 economic migrants. That's the term I'm looking for. A lot of these people seem to be economic migrants. 5 attacks in Germany since July the 18th have left 15 people dead, including 4 attackers and dozens injured. Officials say 2 of the attacks had links to Islamist militancy. Merkel has been forced to defend her immigration policy, which many have linked to the attacks, and has refused to change it. Well, yes. At least 2 of these attacks are by supposed Syrian refugees, people that are supposed to have come from Syria, or came in as Syrians, whether or not they are Syrian is still up in arms. But early this week, she set out a 9-point plan, including measures to recruit more staff for security agencies and an early warning system for the radicalisation of refugees. Bavaria's state premier took aim at Merkel this afternoon. Horst Seehofer, whose Christian Social Union is the Bavarian sister party of Merkel's Conservatives, said the problem is too big for that and the attempts at the solution thus too unsatisfactory. What they're missing out is, of course, that Merkel also basically tried to blame violent video games for this and say, oh, we need to censor the internet. As well as repeatedly saying, no, 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 this has nothing to do with my immigration policy and it won't change. So just have some photos here, people waving flags and saying like the German Reich lives on. This is that sort of attitude that you expect to hear when you hear German politicians saying it will be good that soon German genes will be bred out of Germany. Restrictions on immigration are a condition for security in this country. Frankly, restrictions on immigration are really would very likely they're important for security of almost any country, especially if it has an influx of people that don't match its current culture. Jens Spahn, Deputy Finance Minister and senior member of Merkel's Conservatives, suggested a ban on the burqa in Germany was overdue, and he admitted Germany underestimated the migrant crisis. He said, a ban on the full-body veil, that is the niqab and the burqa, is overdue. My impression is that we underestimated a year ago who would come upon us with this big refugee and migration movement. Lots of people criticise France when they introduced the burqa ban, but it's supposed to be a step for security and for cultural enrichment. Basically saying, they don't wear burqas because that's not how we do it here in the West, and also the fact that there's always been the claim that underneath a full-body niqab or burqa you can hide weapons and explosives, considering it is basically a full-body cloak, and a man can quite as easily wear it as a woman. So Germany is on high alert following a series of attacks. The police arrested a 15-year-old boy in Stuttgart on suspicion of planning a terror attack on Wednesday. Merkel faced more criticism on social media after failing to react until the next day, and 17 hours after President Barack Obama, to the Munich shooting where an 18-year-old German-Iranian gunman killed 9 people in a shooting on July 22nd. And of course, as a response to that, Germany basically said the response was to have tighter gun control in the EU, not to fight, not to, again, it seems to avoid saying that this is being caused by a clash of cultures and a mix of people coming in who want to destroy our culture and think that we are evil. 4 passengers were injured on a train in an axe attack near Wurzburg on July the 18th. So I'll go over this in a second, but the 17-year-old axeman was shot dead by police. Authorities said that refugees, who may have come from Afghanistan or Pakistan, had clear long-term ties to Islamist extremist groups. A Syrian asylum seeker blew himself up in Ansbach on July the 25th outside a music festival, killing himself and injuring, top quality journalism, injuring 15 people. Now, I think it was Sargon's video that I was listening to earlier who was talking about this. I think it was Stephen Crowder, where he pointed out that people saying, oh no, like some of these people drink and smoke and that, like with the Nice attack, and these things are un-Islamic and these things are sins, yes, but they also believe very firmly that every religion generally has a way of cleansing themselves of sins. So in Catholicism, you tend to pray for forgiveness, or even to giving to the Catholic Church with the luxury tax. Such with Buddhism, you may go and live off in isolationism and meditate. However, with Islam, if you want to cleanse yourself of sin, the way you do that is to kill the infidels. By killing the kafar, I believe is the term someone used, killing the infidels, you will have all your sins forgiven, regardless of what they are. Even homosexuality, hence supposedly the Orlando shooting, and you will go to heaven regardless. So saying these people are not Muslim because they do this is incorrect, because they believe that by committing these atrocities, Allah will forgive them all their sins. And that says a lot about a religion, that the way you cleanse yourself of sin is not through reflection, not through asking for forgiveness, it is to murder non-believers or apostates. It really does go and show that Islam was at least originally set up as a religion for conquering and governing. Considering the fact that, after all, Muhammad was basically a warlord. So that's just these news on Germany. It's breaking right now, so I suggest if you haven't heard it, you go and try and catch it now on websites, see if you can get anything live. I'm trying to find it over here in England, but Sky News, even EU News and BBC are not talking about this. I'm wondering if they're trying to sweep it under the rug until something violent happens. But yeah, I just thought this was interesting and share this around because it's important and it's breaking right now. So thank you for listening, and I wish Germany the best of luck.